More than 2 years this model was delayed. More than 2 years we had to wait as collectors to finally get our hands on this aircraft model with no information from Herpa Wings whatsoever as to why the model was delayed. So it better be a banger, and we will find out if it is thanks to the great prices of the FMB shop. And with that alone, welcome to a new episode of Review, where today we'll take a closer look at a Boeing 737MAX9 of FlyDubai. At the front of the box we have a cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and on top of the box we have the FlyDubai branding. The back side of the box is rather uninspiring, so there's really not much point in spending a lot of time on this, so let's just move on and take a look at the model itself. And here she is, the Boeing 737MAX9 in the standard livery of FlyDubai. And I can't believe that I had to wait more than 2 years to say that sentence, because I was so excited when Herpa first announced that they wanted to do this aircraft model. And then of course we had to wait 2 years with no information, because Herpa never informs their customers about anything. But now it's finally here, so as I said, this better be a banger, because my excitement has not shrunk throughout these 2 years. So with no further ado, let us take a closer look at this aircraft model to see what it actually has to offer. And the best way to do so is by taking a look at the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer find the FlyDubai color scheme, and we will talk more about that later in the video. On the fuselage we then have the full registration code of the aircraft, and towards the very tail of the aircraft we also have a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. At the front of the aircraft and across the fuselage we then have the FlyDubai branding, and here we have a very weird issue with the placement of that, but this is also something we will go deeper into a little bit later in the video. So let's just focus on the other details we find here, like static ports and safety markings. Here Herpa has actually done quite nicely. If we then move on to the cockpit section itself, well, we find of course the cockpit windows with the window wipers. Underneath the cockpit windows we also have the flag of the UAE. The engine nacelles have been kept in all white, just as most of the fuselage, but we do have the silver leading edge and safety markings printed on. The physical detailing of these engines is actually also quite lovely, especially with the chevron nozzles, where Herpa does rather well, and also here from the front, where we very nicely can see the engine fan blades. Then on the fuselage, just above the wings, we have the emergency exits printed on. And that leads us straight to the wings, which we should also take a closer look at, starting off with the top side, where we have the different flap slats and spoilers carved out, although that could have been a little bit more pronounced. And we also have the markings for the emergency exits printed on. The underside of the wings then offers us more nice physical detailing, and here we also have the full registration code of the aircraft once again. The winglets, well, they suffer from the, in my opinion, being a little bit too bulky, but overall they do still look rather lovely, and here we also find the FlyDubai branding printed on once more. The landing gear is still the current standard landing gear that Herpa uses for all their 737 MAX aircraft models, which means it's technically in the right height, but it just looks way too tall. But it otherwise looks pretty alright, but I am missing some printed details at the front landing gear. On the belly of the aircraft we then have a hole in the fuselage for a stand, which is not included with this aircraft model, but as it does not destroy any printed details I can live with it, although I will never be a fan of it. And then last but not least we also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on the back of the aircraft and at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Boeing 737MAX9 in the standard livery of FlyDubai from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Well, to be honest, quite a few things, because there are some issues with this aircraft model we very much need to talk about. Let's start with the placement of the FlyDubai branding. On one side, this looks perfectly fine and is, as far as I can make out, placed totally correctly. On the other side, we have this very weird gap between the word fly and the word Dubai. A gap wide enough for 2 cabin windows, and this is something we just don't see on the real aircraft. What is really weird is the fact that where the F begins of fly and where we have this little orange dot after Dubai, I think that is placed as it should. So how they have managed to get such a wide gap between the word fly and the word Dubai, I don't understand, but it is clearly wrong. And whatever they have done here, how can they not see that before they release the model? The problem is, it gets even worse. When we look at the tail section, and granted you have to really look for it, but once you've seen it, you cannot unsee it. And when we take a look at these lines, you have them in different shades of blue. And then look at the aircraft in real life. Now when you start comparing the lines, you see that whatever Herpa has managed to add to the aircraft model is just pure fiction. I mean, this is not the standard livery, this is a fantasy model, because the lines have nothing to do what is on the real aircraft, and this is again a thing I don't understand. Someone from Herpa surely must have seen this. What they have added to this aircraft model has nothing to do with the aircraft in real life. And again, they had more than 2 years of delay, and still they managed to release the model in such a sorry state. And this is actually a huge shame, because the model itself is actually quite nice. The 737 mold of Herpa in Scale 500 is really good, and the print quality itself is actually also very nice. And it's lovely to see a FlyDubai in Scale 500. It's the first time we have this airline featured ever in Scale 500. So this should be a no-brainer. This should be such a banger. This should be, I mean, a model that every collector wants to have. And the sad thing is, I guess it's still, because I mean, I bought the aircraft model, I wanted to have it, even though I knew about at least one of these issues, and I know that many other collectors will want to get the model as well. And I understand that, because we don't have an alternative. The only positive thing I can see here is the fact that Herpa actually did keep the original asking price from 2 years ago, because a model like this today would probably set you back like 35 euros with the official retail price of Herpa Wings, but they kept the official retail price of 28 euros. It's still steep, but at least they did that. Now with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like, and of course if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. With that, thanks so much for watching, hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.